Hi Taurus, and welcome to your May 2020 general reading. So I do hope wherever you are in the world that you're safe from harm and your loved ones are safe from harm. So as usual, I'll pull an additional guidance card and then I'll do a spread. Yeah, you got the Between Worlds card. All the earth signs have had this. So it's a little bit like the Six of Swords. So no longer in the old world, but not fully in this world that you want to be in, okay? I mean, that's almost like where we're all at globally. We're all in that strange place. What I love about the Between Worlds is you're moving forward. And hopefully, Taurus, you're moving forward to a world where your heart's essence can come alive, where your needs can be met, because we're moving into Taurus season. Sorry, happy birthday, guys, sorry. So, it's a strange time to have your birthday, but I do hope whatever's going on for you, that you move into this beautiful new world, because the blue and orange is very much about creativity and blue skies, so clarity, joy, all those beautiful things that I always think Taurus really represents. So let me just, you're my first reading of the day, and the cards always need a little bit more clearing. So just, can you please give me messages for the sign of Taurus to navigate them through the month of May? Okay, one more split. Oh, what's going on? Got the wheel behind you, Fortuna, with the Ten of Pentacles. So 2 tens. Looks like potentially the last week of April, there's good news around your prosperity, around your abundance, because the Ten of Pentacles is a very open card, and because there's plenty, there's enough to share. So I would say there's some sort of financial good news on its way to you, Taurus, by the way, which would be wonderful. So what you want is the Five of Wands. Five of Wands is the head and heart moving in separate directions. It tends to show up to me when there's some great change that you're considering, some sort of shift, some sort of new chapter, but you're very much stuck in the phase of not fully moving forward yet. So let me carry on. Okay, the gift is a Page of Swords, so some sort of communication. The challenge is the Star card, which is about transparency, faith, relationships. You've got the Three of Swords. So I'm wondering, I already thought that when I seen the Five of Wands, that there might be some relationship dynamic that you're dealing with here. I had a funny old feeling. Money and work, you get the Three of Cups. So there's very, very good financial energy. There's something going, there's a relationship dynamic here. Now, I'll talk about it more in a minute. Soul position, you do have the Tower card. Then you have the Queen of Swords, so being in the truth. Then you get the Six of Wands. Now this is fascinating because this is what you want. The Five of Wands is one of these cards. They call it the angst card, and it tends to show up when there's some sort of great change that wants to be made. So the Five of Wands is like looking down on a mountain and being a little bit scared to make a leap of faith, to make a jump, to make some sort of decision. So it tends to be a card of holding back a change. Now the great news is the Six of Wands is the outcome, is this change is going to be made. Because you've overcame this fear of some sort of leap of faith, and I cannot help feeling this is definitely to do with your relationships, Taurus, because money and work looks actually quite very positive for you. So the gift is the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is about communication. There's a lot of communication because you end in the Queen of Swords. So swords are going to be about communication, texting, the spoken word. So there's a lot of that going on. The challenge of the Star card is either going to be an Aquarius or it's about transparency around a situation. Maybe some of you are in a situation and there's a lot of doubt. Maybe some of you are even in a three-party situation. I have to read it that way because cards all have traditional meanings. They don't very often show up the traditional way, but I always have to mention the traditional understanding of it. So the Three of Swords, there's communication, there's a little bit, oh, sorry, there's a lot of noise outside. There's fear that there's not enough openness, clarity and transparency. And I cannot help feeling that's in your relationship world because look at the Three of Swords here. So why is the Three of Swords showing up in your relationships, please? Yeah, because of the moon. So there's a feeling of uncertainty. For some of you, there's the feeling that you might be being deceived. Sometimes the moon is this memory of the past. So a classic example is we don't feel trusting of people, but it's not the actual event, it's the memory of the event that keeps living on. So you have to be double sure, Taurus, about, you have to be really, really sure. So some of you, if you feel that a situation is deceptive or you've been cheated on, be double sure it's a reality and it's not a memory that's replaying itself out. Because essentially we have a difficult experience and it becomes karma, it becomes a habit because we keep replaying the same old story. Because there's an issue here about faith. Because the Star card is about transparency, it's about openness, it's right under the Tower card. So this is really, really, really about straightforward communication and being in the truth. And I think some of you have got some sort of strange, it's either a feeling or a fact that there's a little bit of potential dishonesty in a relationship going on. Taurus, I can only read the cards that I've got. This might only be for one person. For some of you, you're separate from the person, but there's a lot of communication. And that's separation, because the Three of Swords is about being separate. I tend to read it as past memory that's still... So those swords need to be removed from your heart. And because it's a swords card, it's thoughts that keep going round and round and round in your head. And it's a little bit feeling of, oh, is this trustworthy? Am I being deceived here? And there's a little bit of resistance to moving forward. Now, let me carry on. Money and work, you get the Three of Cups. So there's some good news around your finances. Because look at the cards behind you. And look at this. So this is a lot to celebrate. There's a lot of good cheer. And I really hope every single person watching gets this good cheer and this prosperity and this abundance. The Tower at a soul level. So again, both of these cards would represent clarity and the truth. That's what the Tower card means. It's a breakthrough card that comes after the Devil card. There's something going on here in your relationship dynamics where you feel maybe there's an inkling that something's not straight up, Or maybe this is the potential to move this old energy. Why is the Tower showing up at a soul level, please? I need to get one card. I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to split them into 3. A Strength card. So the Strength card is looking right at this Page of Swords and this 5 of Wands. The Strength card is about following your heart, and there's a real head and heart situation that you're trying to deal with here. Because the Tower card rules Aquarius, which shows the head. The Strength card rules the heart. The 5 of Wands is about head and heart. This is what you want, which means you sort of, it's almost like for some Taurus, you're unsure about the way to go, but I think that's specifically playing out in your relationships. Now, I want to go to the ending, and it'll make sense why I'm going to the ending, because this is an overcoming of the dilemma, because you've gone from the 5 to the 6, which means you've got over this hump. You've got over either a fear that someone's not been honest with you. It's either a fear or it's a fact. And I have got no idea which one it is. But not only does the page also becomes the Queen. So this is about being in more truth, being in more clarity, and it's this clarity in this decision making that leads to the Victory card. Can I get a card that connects these two? What card connects these two, please? But it looks like there's almost feels to me that there's going to be some sort of push forward for you this month. Yeah, Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles tends to show up as some sort of steps to heal a rift, some sort of apology, some sort of communication. What seems to be going on for you, Taurus, this month is interest. There's a set of interesting dynamics in your relationships. And the Venus is going retrograde. It's going retrograde for every single person. So Venus retrograde is going to be a complete revaluation of our relationships. When it goes retrograde, something has been left in the past. Again, it could be a situation that's not been fully let go of, and that needs to be redone so we can move forward in a happier way. Again, an example is that if our trust has been broken, everyone becomes untrustworthy. And that's how retrograde energy works. We need to go back to that point when our trust was broken, take away the belief systems so we get to move forward to this card, we get to be in the truth. The Queen of Swords is also a little bit of a cutter. Okay, she cuts through bullshit. She cuts through any crap. She doesn't take fools lightly, the Queen of Swords, because she's all the queens especially are these people who've learned a lot of their lessons the hard way. So she doesn't take fools. She's very, very, if I'm getting bull crap here, I'm going to cut it. And that is what your victory is. Your victory is this sense of either believing this person isn't trustworthy or cutting through the old beliefs so you're ready to move on. Because see, if we don't, the past just keeps getting recycled and recycled and recycled. And there comes a point, Taurus, where we need to stop and take these swords out of our hearts. Now let me try and find out what's going on in your relationship dynamics, because your finances look fantastic, Taurus, by the way. which is really great. So it seems to be a relationship dynamic that's playing out for you. So what's the central point? Yeah, so you've got the Hermit as the connecting card. You're approaching them Temperance. So Temperance can be quite vulnerable. It came just after the Death card. So there's been an experience in the past. But Temperance is willing to try to be open, but there's a vulnerability. They are the ones that are the Five of Wands towards you, which means they're the ones who've got this great head and heart. So you might be dealing with a three-way situation, by the way. If not, you're dealing with someone who's got a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, because Taurus, even though... So Temperance comes right after the Death card. So there's a feeling of being quite vulnerable in the Temperance card, but still willing to offer your cup, because like, you're offering your cup. It's the other person who's got this head and heart decision going on, because they're the Nine of Swords. So they've got a lot of fear about making this leap into the unknown, because the Ten of Swords would be that leap into the unknown. The Six of Wands is when they overcome this angst, this fear, and they move forward to victory. But you're dealing with someone with an awful lot of fear. So why the fear? Why so much fear? One card. I just want to know why they've got so much fear. The fear is generally a card like the Three of Swords. Yeah. So fear of openness, fear of being straightforward, fear of being vulnerable, fear of sharing what's true for them. That sort of energy. You know, Taurus, I'm really sort of, I feel quite, it's like a lot of your energy is willing to turn up here. It's beautiful, by the way. So I'm going to ask for an advice card for you, how to navigate the relationship dynamic. I'm sorry I can't do any more at the moment, because just energy levels, uploading time. So you got the Six of Wands again. I think the advice for you, Taurus, is to try and continually be, I'm not saying putting yourself in the middle of a road, but there's a sort of advice for you to keep working with your fears. I'm not saying that I'm not saying we trust people that are proving to be untrustworthy. But you look like you're dealing with someone who's going through an awful lot of stuff. And if that's the case, all we can do is step back and let them work it out. Because it looks like they've not worked it out yet, because you work it out when you get to the tens. And they're emotionally and mentally, they're not quite there yet. So the advice for you, if it feels right, to keep willing to be open, overcome your own fears, and then see what happens, which is all we can do. It's very difficult being in a relationship with someone who's got a lot of fear, by the way. Because we need to take risks to love. Unless the person's got, I am the devil on their head, and then you walk the other, you know, most people don't. Anyhow, Taurus, I tried my best to deliver some sort of message to people. I know for a fact there's people watching, this is their reading, okay? Reflect, reevaluate with that retrograde Venus. It's the only way to deal with the retrograde energy. It's all about this, we're all in a pause. It's not the time to make major commitments. It's not a time to go forward completely, but to make sure that you're willing to take risks, that you're not stuck in some story of drama from the past, but willing to be temperate, to offer your cup, to be vulnerable. That sort of thing, Taurus. So clean your own slate, basically. Okay, guys, I'll speak to you later.